Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cramer. Our guest today is Eric Owings. We're going to talk about your very favorite topic, taxes. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Thank you so much. It's awesome to be here.
So I kind of joked a little bit when I said favorite subject as taxes. Now, we all have plenty of things that we do in our businesses that are maybe not our favorite, but taxes probably is one of the lowest in terms of people's, preferred topics or activities. But it doesn't have to be a scary thing. It doesn't have to be a super stressful thing. And that's what we're going to talk about today because this is your area of expertise and this is what you do in your business. So, why don't you start by giving us just a real high level overview about your business and what it is that you do?
Well, from a higher level overview, as you said, we are basically a transformational accounting consultation firm, but we have developed our business over the course of 6 years through um, creating tax savings for a handful of clients for whom we're very grateful, either doing books and tax planning or tax planning alone. And it basically remains the core of our business. So, as you said, taxes are they are one of the largest ordinary and necessary expenses. That's the IRS's phrase, by the way. And if properly planned for and accepted, as you know, it's like one of those necessary evils in life. But the thing of it is, you know it's going to happen. Putting it off, ignoring it, and not doing anything about it is not going to make it go away. So, ostrich mentality won't take care of taxes, basically planning for it and doing something about it. I like to use a simple analogy of like a teenager keeping their room clean. They're able to actually walk through it and find things more easily, and it's a much more relaxing and satisfying mindset to be in. So I think it's key to business success.
Well, let's look at it in a really practical way. So when somebody has that sort of disorganization, it is really a mental and emotional drain. It's a stress. It's an unnecessary stress that a lot of business owners create for themselves because they don't have the organization. And there is fear that is typically then sort of clouding their headspace. Not to mention, they're probably missing out on opportunities where they could save themselves some money, things that they could be a little bit more proactive about, a little more preemptive about. And so empowering themselves by having that more organized is actually going to free up headspace. It's going to create a greater sense of inner stability and security. And I want to take this opportunity to segue into maybe something that people will get a little excited about, even who doesn't want to save money on their taxes, right? So, can you enlighten us perhaps with maybe some tips or some insights, maybe some common things or some overlooked things that our listeners, who are all small business owners, obviously some of them have created larger corporations with bigger employee bases, and some of them are more solopreneurs with freelance contractors and things like that. But in some way, shape, or form, perhaps you can kind of speak to these different types of businesses and share a little bit of insight on how they might be able to save some money on their taxes or what they could do to set themselves up for success in this area in their business.
Right. The way you open with that was brilliantly put. Really, if you have everything straightened out in your books and your tax situation, you are able to create yourself the freedom to grow. One of the things, I guess, three things are coming to mind. So, one of the ways that we can take a look at that is clean accounting records and good metrics. KPIs is a acronym for key performance indicators. If you have an understanding of the various KPIs in your business that provide a constant um, level of information for you, these are found through not only just having financial records, but also understanding to a certain level what those are. What we do for our clients is we provide what we call the Holy Trinity, which is profit and loss, also known as income statement, um, balance sheet, and statement of cash flows. Those three things basically give you a month by month analysis of where you are in your business, and you really are going to be able to make the most of that information if you're not behind on taxes. You had said something that reminded me too about the kind of clients that come to me. Of course, in any business, mine or whatever you might do as an entrepreneur, you're going to basically be solving a problem for someone. Someone comes to you for a problem, you have the solution, you provide that solution. That's how um, they derive value from your service. And accounting is it gives me the opportunity to not only provide services, but actually get them a return on investment on what they're paying me, because I can also save them enough money to afford me. So it's kind of a great way to make a living, really. So the first thing is understanding your business metrics. Um, and I don't know if you want to interject at some point, but I can keep talking about the other
Well,
two.
you just keep going. I want to hear these tips.
Okay, so obviously, because I've already said, understanding your financials. For those who are our clients and do we call CFO services, which is fractional CFO. I'm not actually in your office drawing a salary, but you're basically hiring someone to take care of these things for you. In the background, you have a little bit of minimal contact to identify some transactions. And then at the end of the month, I actually create a video like this in the same format, and I screenshot all their um, financials up for them, and I talk to them about what I think it all means. I call it a transactional analysis or financial analysis, and um, I people really love that because they don't have to go through the logistics of booking a meeting. Basically, it's a meeting in a box they just watch. And nice thing about having it in a recording is you pause it, rewind it, stop, watch it in bed while you're trying to go to sleep, which is an ideal time to watch an accounting video, right? Many jokes about that kind of thing. But so understanding your financials is one. Second, estimated tax payments. And this is what I also refer to as the entrepreneur's withholding. If you're a wage earner and you're making money by basically working for someone else, basically it's all taken care of for you. The employer owes half of your FICA tax and they have to pay it themselves. So they just withdraw that with every pay event. You paid monthly, it's 12 times a year. Semi-monthly is 24, bi-weekly is 26. You understand. So every single pay event, you're paying your share of tax. They pay their share of your FICA tax. The whole thing's taken care of. Okay. It all happens before you get your first check. The uh, teenage McDonald's employee understands FICA because it's going to happen to everybody that
Yeah,
makes a
it's
wage.
that part on their pay stub that they're like, hey, where's that money going?
Yeah, I think there was a McDonald's commercial, and a guy jokingly said, "Who is FICA and why is he taking my money?" It's an acronym, and it basically means Social Security and Medicare. So this is how we fund what some politicians call entitlements. I bristle at that term, but we're not talking about that right now. But FICA tax basically is paid by the solopreneur um, in full. And I'll get to that. That's going to come up in my third point. Estimated tax payments. Entrepreneurs withholding only occurs 4 times a year. And I like to give myself the mindset and share this with my clients and other people through my social media content that I post. That if you look at it this way, even though it's not true, that the IRS is actually kind of treating us like adults because they give us an opportunity to just do this on our own. Here's the other part why people get behind on tax. I think you had mentioned something as you were talking, is that people do get behind and they get their hair on fire because they don't understand taxes. The IRS doesn't hold your hand. They don't tell you what to do. Their corrective measure And the way that they handle enforcement is they basically charge money after the fact. Their punitive measure is called interest and penalties. And the way to avoid that and keep every possible dollar of your net income in your own pocket is to just take care of the stuff if it comes up. So estimated taxes occur on the 15th of April, June, September, January. They're weird months, 4, 6, 9, 13, but that's the way those go. And all you need to do, it's a little complicated, but if you're a solopreneur just starting out and your spouse is a W-2 wage earner, it's not terribly difficult in the information age to use your favorite search engine and find a calculator for these things. At a higher level, multiple businesses, enterprises, that kind of thing. Hopefully, you find someone like myself or similar that can do these things for you so you don't have to have that headache yourself. I always like the plumber analogy. You can spend 300 to 500 or $1,000 of your own billable time trying to fix the leaky pipe yourself, or pay half that to have a pro come in and do it right. So, um,
Good, good analogy.
if you make estimated taxes 4 times a year, you avoid something called an underpayment penalty when you file taxes the following year also. Underpayment penalties go up in percentage. Every couple of years they raise it. I think it's up to 6% of the outstanding amount. Your federal government would like you to pay uh, estimated tax payments if you feel you're going to owe over 1,000 in tax at the end of the year. And if you think about that, that's going to be really easy to do. Somebody making about 40 or 50,000 can owe over $1,000 in tax. And if you have an underpayment penalty, it can be hundreds of dollars. Why give them a penny more than you have to? So I go into a lot more detail, estimated payment and advisories and that sort of thing, and the social media content that I post. I don't suppose you have Q&A for listeners, but you can certainly anything.
We will direct people to find you on social media. In fact, why
Okay.
don't you just take a moment right now and share with our listeners how they can follow you on social media for those tips?
Uh, Basically, much to the chagrin of my family, I actually post on my personal profile. And there is also links available on my cover photo for a couple of different ways to actually get help. You can book a call with me to learn how to work with me year
So
round.
this is all on Facebook?
It's Facebook, and all you have to do is look for my real name as it's printed there in Zoom, Eric Owings. So I do have a private group called Winning at Business and Taxes. And if you'd like to ask to join, I think there's 3 easy to answer questions there. So but you can basically follow the stuff that we post just by going there. Same real name on LinkedIn as well. We also have a pretty big presence there. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out Instagram, and I've been told I need to get on there and do more videos and maybe even TikTok. But for now, that's kind of a thing that we need to do. Hint, hint. Not getting done yet, but I've got more executive assistants help with very good staff, and those things are coming in the near future. Facebook and LinkedIn under Eric Owings, though. That'd be great.
Perfect.
Yeah, and
Perfect.
let me add to something. I actually pop on and do a live at 8:30 Mountain, 7:30 Western, 10:30 Eastern, whether it's daylight time or whatever. My zone's Colorado, and I call it Weekly Profit Talk, and that is actually a Q&A. And if people write a question on any other day, I'll answer it live on there, or you can pop on live and ask. And, if I get on there and just talk to my phone for 10 minutes and nobody asks a question, it stays pretty short. So that's another opportunity for them. And yeah,
So
thanks
take
for asking
advantage of
or
that,
reminding me.
guys. You got some free advice here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd like to be able to help people. I was in a situation where I was trying to figure all these things out in my past, and the IRS, in my opinion, purposely obfuscates the tax code. It's as difficult to understand as health insurance. And I think they do it on purpose, and then they punish people by charging even more money. And there are a lot of ways that your federal government gets money out of us that they really shouldn't get. And it's my mission to stop that bleeding. So,
So right there, I'm sure somebody listening is like, okay, that's definitely my guy, because that is, there's sort of this I wouldn't even say love hate, because most people just simply do not love taxes or the IRS. So
Right.
it's more of either a resentment or a fear that is conjured up in people. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be that way, because there are a lot of things in life that are not so great. And we can either allow them to control our mental emotional well-being, or we can rise above and we can find ways to be empowered in spite of those things. And that's what this conversation really is all about, is saying, okay,
Yeah.
it's a necessary thing. We all, with a few exceptions, there are some rebels out there, who put their stake in the ground and say, I just simply am not doing it, right? It is, unconstitutional or whatever. And for most people listening, though, we're going to say they don't want to rock the boat too much. They say, okay, you know what? You can have your percentage. I'll just make more.
Yes, yes, that's right. And the thing is that since they're not standing over you with a cattle prod or a bullwhip, basically people would just say, well, this is a thing I don't need to do. Um, and to that point, yeah, the mindset of just taking care of it in advance saves you money in the future. And that's really the big point. Um, that mindset that you refer to, it's important to touch on that. And again, I'm glad you brought that up because people will come to me with what looks like a nuclear wasteland in their books and literally years of non-completed tax filings just because it's too much to think about. And finally, the IRS has this habit of sending those sphincter tightening letters in a little number 10 window envelope. Okay. And that's usually open that thing as you owe us five figures in money. This is going up every day. That's about the point of where somebody reaches out to someone like me and says, hey, I got a problem. What can I do about this? And they're like, well, I can see how the problem was created, first of all. Actually, I suppose it's like a general practitioner in the medical field, you can easily detect what pink eye is because you've seen it 1,000 times. And same thing with this. It's just basically they didn't take care of business, you know. And I understand that a buddy of mine, a fellow accountant, puts it in a really nice way. He says, basically, I find myself in the business. This is him talking of helping good people out of a bad situation. That's because they just don't know. They don't teach us stuff in high school, and small business administration isn't going to tell you either. It's up to you to either seek to educate yourself or hire a professional that will help you and be your guide on this path, so to speak. So that's a really good point.
Well, this actually has been I think, very empowering conversation to have. Just like we have conversations about money and money shame, and we have conversations about those things that maybe you should be doing to market your business but are not.
Yeah.
These are sore spots for a lot of people, but as long as we leave it taboo, we can't do anything to change it. And this mission that we all have is to be doing our work and living a life, creating a business that is in alignment with our values, so
Right.
that we're thriving, we're happy, we're providing abundantly for our family, we're enjoying and making the most out of our life. And these little details matter, because just like the person
Mhm.
that has the thing, their body, that they're trying to avoid or not pay attention to, that if treated properly,
Yeah.
right, they probably could reverse instead of ending up in a situation later down the road that is much more difficult to deal with.
Uh-huh.
Let's just not even create so much of that stress. Let's tackle it right now and optimize things so that you can enjoy a better quality of life. And that's a lot of what you're talking about here is let's just
Yes,
get your shit together now, right? So that you don't have that hanging over your head later.
that's exactly right. And yeah, the whole thing about mindset in business, I, yeah, that sings to me because I'm basically going through a, personal business development program now that really touches on those things. And there's a lot of things I'm learning recently that you just spoke to, the kind of things that keep people from taking care of unpleasant things can arise from like a guilt or self-doubt, even fear and anxiety, or even on the opposite side, a more positive charge of just being infatuated to the point of uh, blind heading down the road. I'm sorry, I'm
Somewhat disconnected from
the
reality,
allegory
right?
escapes
The
me
head
here,
in the
but
clouds
you can
kind
be
of
so in love with an outcome that can actually blind you to the actual uh,
day to day,
proper neutral
right?
path to take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So mindset is huge in this. I'm reminded of Jack Canfield's story about his dad and this whole lack mentality. Oh, we're not the Rockefellers, rich people, and that spoke to me when I saw that for the first time. I had that father too. It's like, oh, he only has that pretty girl because he has money, kind of thinking. But the thing is, and this is important, I want to share something about mindset because it excites me. If you want something, you're basically telling the universe that you don't have it. And if you send out want, you're getting back lack. And basically, whenever you say lack, the universe goes, okay, here's some more lack for you. So it's really important for me. And I'm erasing and correcting decades of difficult thinking on this path. But if you can bring yourself into a place where you are self assured that you already basically have this in the space time continuum, and you believe uh, that you are capable of doing whatever the endeavor is that you have, as your goal, you have a much better chance of achieving that goal. Basically, just believe in yourself and that it's already yours. So,
Well, you
this
just
is probably more
summarized
your
my
area.
entire business.
This
So
is probably more your area, and I'm just sitting here going duh duh duh. But yeah, I just love what you said there. Um, then actually, I'd like to segue into my third and final little helpful tip, if I could.
absolutely.
You've most likely at some point, maybe not everyone that listens to you, but in the first couple of 3 years of business, solopreneurs, and I heard you use that term. It's actually the name of a course that I sell, Solopreneur S Corp Strategy. And I want to talk about what that is. Basically, the topic is that if you are a sole proprietor, you're basically double taxed because that FICA tax I was talking about earlier, you're paying all of it yourself, employer and employee side. So I can tell you that the percentage of Social Security plus Medicare is 15.3%, but they allow you a small, um, really laughable adjustment on the gross income on the first page of the 1040. Effective tax rate of self-employment tax is 14.13%. Now you're going to pay that without any credits, any write-offs, no deductions, no luck, no nothing. And you're paying that on top of ordinary income tax. My example that I give, and if you click on my cover photo on my Facebook page, by the way, that will lead you to uh, that course, and you can take a look at my video on this. I'm actually quoting from it a little bit here, but the no luck thing. But essentially, if you have $100,000 in net income after you reduce your gross income as much as you possibly can with ordinary and necessary expenses, again, the IRS phrasing, you got down to $100,000. That's a pretty decent year. It's a little over the average for a married couple in America. If you are a sole proprietor and you are paying that, reporting that tax on Schedule C attachment to Form 1040, you're paying over $29,000 in tax. That's over 29% of your money. And if that doesn't make you mad, it should. So, um, what the S Corp election does for you is it allows you to be taxed as a corporation. You take a officer compensation from your corporation, and I'm sure a lot of your people are saying, "Yeah, I already do that," and that's great. Congratulations, you should be. But one of the things we do here is we also keep an eye on that compensation. If you start having a much better year, you might want to take a little bit more raise in salary. And that's one thing people miss. But let me get back to the main point. If I take somebody that's making $100,000 a year and I create a $4,000 a month reasonable compensation for them, that's 48K or a little under half. That $52,000 that's left over is actually net income subject only to ordinary income tax, and they're saving over $7,000 a year by that one simple strategy. That, Alicia, has been the linchpin of this business since I began it 6 years ago, and it's basically our specialty. So,
Wow.
as corporation election is a valuable tool for anyone that's making enough money or double taxation is becoming a real issue. There is, and this I get this question a lot. Well, how much should I be making before I think about doing that? And the answer is, like a lot of IRS questions, it depends. If you're paying somebody like me to handle it for you, you want to actually be making a little bit more because you've got logistics plus the overhead of an accountant. Okay. I like to say a number of around $60,000 generally, but it depends on the business and whether or not it's scaling, growing year by year. Some businesses, people are very content to basically do what they do for the same clients. Others, like mine, you're going to have attrition and then you're going to have acquisition. People leave, people come, and I think that happens with anybody. I think even doctors lose patients over time. So, and I believe that one of the things that I've learned over the years is that if a business isn't growing, it's dying. So you kind of always have to be marketing. My guy that I follow now, he says if you say you don't like sales, you're basically doomed. Everybody's in sales, even guys at the singles bars. Everybody's got to sell themselves to some degree. So get used to it, suck it up. You got to do it. So, but yeah, S Corp is a passion of mine, and uh, to get to that course, that will land you on everybody's. I've seen one of those clickbait sales letters, and that's what mine is. But it'll go into detail about what it can do for you, and I even got a little 2-minute video on there. So um, if that looks like something that's of value, that's another tool that's available to people, and it's very competitively priced, by the way. So
Love
uh,
it. So tell
I'll leave.
tell us how they can find that again.
If you go to Eric Owings on Facebook, you can click on my cover photo. I could give you the whole URL, but that's kind of clumsy. But just simply going to my cover photo, there's a big white button on there that says tired or sick of paying thousands in excess taxes, solopreneur S Corp savings. But you can, Facebook, you can click anywhere on the picture and it'll still open it. And it's the third link down when you open that up, and there's comments on the side, and it will take you to the sales letter and kind of explain what it does. And it's a yearly membership, but you can be in it for 11 months and cancel with no obligation. So, and matter of fact, that even has a twice monthly Q&A. I'm going to pop on for a half hour a couple times a month and talk about my favorite subject and field a few questions. So I've been told by someone that I'm not charging enough for it, but I really want to make this available to people that are starting out. So um, yeah, with that, that was the third point I wanted to make, and hopefully somebody finds that helpful.
I'm sure it was
Just
excellent, excellent things that you've shared, very practical things that people can begin to take into consideration, implement, obviously, reach out to you, find you on Facebook, find you on LinkedIn. Is there anywhere else that you would like to direct our listeners to?
I do have a website, and it's simply owingsllc.com. And then if you on the menu, there is actually a work with me link. And if you would actually like to have a free consultation and talk about if your business and mine are a good fit for each other, that first call is always free. And of course, I think there's contact us on there. But again, you can comment on anything I say on any day. And if I don't catch it, my assistant will, and we will reach out to you within 24 hours.
Awesome.
Somebody's watching that all the time.
I
So
want to thank you so much, Eric, for being with us today, sharing some really valuable tips and strategies. I do very much appreciate this conversation.
it's it's been an awesome pleasure, and I learned some things from you as well. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it myself.
Well, it is my pleasure, and I want to thank our listeners. You know, we're doing this for you. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. And until next time, we will see you in the next episode.